Hi guys, this is Mrs. Dahl to help you go through the signpost of tough questions. This is the guided practice. This piece we would have done in class, so you're probably watching this if you were absent or if you just needed a refresher on how to do this. The tough questions, if you remember from the notes, would be things that an author has a character ask of another character or of themselves, and that it maybe goes unanswered for a while. And they're not just easy questions like, where are my shoes, Mom? They're really life questions. And I think you're going to see that in the text that we're going to read today. So go ahead and get that. You either printed it off Moodle or picked it up from your teacher. But it's excerpts from A Long Walk to Water. And this takes place in Sudan, and it's about an 11-year-old who lives in Sudan during a time in which rebels are raiding villages. In a scene early in the novel, Salva has become separated from the rest of his family after rebels have attacked his small Sudanese village, and he's now alone and scared and running. You've got a handout with what I'll be reading, so follow along. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. Salva lowered his head and ran. He ran until he could not run anymore. Then he walked, for hours, until the sun was nearly gone from the sky. Other people are walking too. There were so many of them they couldn't all be from the school village. They must have come from the whole area. As Salva walked, the same thoughts kept going through his head in rhythm with his steps. Where are we going? Where is my family? When will I see them again? All right, let's stop here because there's lots of tough questions, 3 of them in a row, and they're all in italics. Where are we going? Where is my family? When will I see them again? Obviously, for anybody, but especially an 11-year-old, somebody your age, having to ask these questions has got to hurt. So my anchor question, what does this make me wonder about? I think that through. They show me the conflict, the problems that the character is worried about, and he's got some serious worries. As I think about his difficult questions and ask myself what it makes me wonder, I wonder, just personally, would I be able to survive without knowing where my family was? How would I react? What would my behavior be? Something else I wonder is the people that he's found to travel with, will they take care of him? Or are they just going to leave him beside the road or on his own and kind of ignore him because he might be an extra burden to them without his family there? So let's read on, and we're going to skip ahead in the story a little bit to a point where he's been alone for a while. He hasn't had anybody to be around, and he's found a small group of people that are trying to survive like he is. There were now 3 women giving water to the men on the ground. Like a miracle, the small amounts of water revived them. They were able to stagger to their feet and join the group as the walking continued. But their 5 dead companions were left behind. There were no tools with which to dig, and besides, burying the dead men would have taken too much time. Salva tried not to look as he walked past the bodies, but his eyes were drawn in their direction. He knew what would happen. Vultures would find the bodies and strip them of their rotting flesh until only the bones remained. He felt sick at the thought of those men, first dying in such a horrible way, and then having even their corpses ravaged. If he were older and stronger, would he have given water to those men? Or would he, like most of the group, have kept his water for himself? It was the group's 3rd day in the desert. By sunset, they would be out of the desert, and after that, it would not be far to the Itthang refugee camp in Ethiopia. All right, so you probably caught the tough questions. And would he have given water to those men, or would he, like most of the group, have kept his water for himself? When you spot a question, remember to ask yourself, what does this make me wonder about? And in our class, we talked with our neighbors about the answer to that question. So I want to take some time. I want you to pause the video and just jot down a couple of your wonderings right there on the piece of paper or on a Post-it note. Okay, so you've written those tough questions down. I just want to share some of the experiences that we have heard over the years in doing these lessons and from your classmates too. Some people asked or thought about, I wonder what it would like to really be that thirsty. Some people even talked about, could I have just walked away like he did? And how hard would that be to see people who have not been able to make it? Would I be scared? Would it make it feel worse? And then others started to just even ask, because this is a real story, where is this? Where is Sudan? And is this still happening today? Where are the police? What about the government? So there were a lot of really good questions that your classmates came up with. And they help us imagine ourselves in this situation. The tough questions piece in that whole what does this make me wonder about really draws us into texts and helps us live them like our authors want us to. All right, so let's keep going, and we're going to go to the next spot in our text. In this scene, Selva is alone again, and you'll easily spot the tough questions. I want you to grab a pen or a pencil and actually mark the tough questions that you see. I am alone now. I am all that is left of my family. His father, who had sent Selva to school, brought him treats like mangoes, trusted him to take care of the herd. His mother, always ready with food and milk and a soft hand to stroke Selva's head. His brothers and sisters, whom he had laughed with and played with and looked after. He would never see them again. How can I go on without them? But how can I not go on? They would want me to survive, to grow up and make something of my life, to honor their memories. Okay, I bet you underlined the tough questions there. And then ask yourself the question, what does this make me wonder about? Go ahead and pause the video and jot some of those down. What do those questions make you wonder about? All right, so a lot of you wondered how each of us would do in the same circumstances. We heard one person say that you just don't know how you'd be able to go on, and that it made you wonder how you would keep living. We heard another group talking about how it's hard to survive here in some of the areas that he's talking about, and even in the United States we have places that might be hard to survive, and yet nothing compared to this place in Ethiopia. So quite interesting things. You're starting to connect the world around you with your text, and that's part of the signpost. That's what we want you to do. So we are going to end there. When you come to class with this done, hopefully it will help you jump right in to the next step.